Impressions. Our event today begins with the opening remarks by Dr. Carsten Balbina, the head of the DAD regional office here in Cairo. Following that, we have the honor of hearing greeting words from Ms. Lorena Moore. Greeting words from Ms. Lorena Moore, head of science and protocol at the German embassy. Highlight of our evening, we will be having the speech of Professor Dr. Manfred Fischbeck, followed by a Q&A session where you will have the opportunity to ask your questions. After this stimulating discussion, we will have a 15 minutes break. After the break, we will have an interesting lecture by Professor Dr. Mazen Abdessalem. Another Q&A session will giving you to have the chance to engage directly with him. We'll provide some closing remarks and a wrap-up. Finally, we will invite you to a dinner with networking, offering you the opportunity to have further conversations and establish contacts and a relaxed atmosphere. I wish you all an inspiring evening full of valuable insights. Thank you for being with us.
I think you are the first who can use it even with the newly implemented ground, and so welcome to the DAD for a very special event. Because the science lecture is a format in which we try to combine views from a German and an Egyptian scholar. That's one of the key ideas of that. The subject, I think, does not need to be justified. Anything? Okay. The question of innovative solutions for producing energy is one of the most treasuring we all face. I mean, this, I think, has now reached any part of the world, even maybe in remote rural areas. People are aware of this big challenge, and the answers there are two general answers how we might deal with the problem of energy prices. There is this idea of a heavy reduction of consumption, which would mean that we might have perhaps even to change. And it's very difficult to let's say convince people, especially if these people are living in a democracy.
Different directions. I think I can only echo what Carsten has said, that the topic of renewable energy is indeed a very relevant one, globally, but I think also in our bilateral cooperation. Speaking from the perspective of an embassy, thank you. That renewable energy projects are very much at the heart of our cooperation, of our financial and technical cooperation. Germany has a long-standing history in supporting renewable energy projects here in Egypt, in the field of solar energy, in the field of wind energy, and also financially at the COP conference that was hosted in Egypt. Germany was one of the partner countries in this Nawafi program, where we supported Egypt financially in its ambition to higher the percentage of renewable energies in the total Egyptian energy mix. A very ambitious pledge from the Egyptian side. But of course, this is not only a field of collaboration between Egypt and Germany, but it is a very relevant one globally. I think the topic of energy, how do we sustain the energy that we need for our industries, population, households, etc., is also a key question at, for instance, the negotiations that are going on right now in Baku. And some of you might know I'm here at the DAAD giving greeting works, I think at least once a week. So I thought this time I outsourced the work, and I actually messaged one of my dear colleagues that is in Baku right now at the COP conference, and I asked him, so what is happening at the negotiations? What can I tell tonight? He gave a very diplomatic reply. I think some of the newspaper articles are not that optimistic. He said, I quote, "We still have a few hard nuts to crack." I think that's put very optimistically. He was saying that at the moment the main challenge is that the Western countries, they have in mind mostly upping up our ambitions when it comes to mitigation. And they're
An introduction, of course, thank you very much for being invited to speak today here and to talk today with you here in this very nice place. It's really a great pleasure to be with you tonight and to share some of our experience we are gaining in the Institute, and of course to share with you some of the current status which we have at the moment with regard to the energy and climate policy in my home country, in Germany. So my presentation tonight will focus on the question of how to achieve greenhouse gas neutrality in Germany, which is the official, the formal goal of the German government. The government wants to achieve that goal by 2045. It's more or less in 20 years from now, so it's a very ambitious goal, so to speak. So particularly, I will highlight the role of renewable energies and hydrogen in that context. And within the talk, I will outline the challenges, the risks, and the robust pathways associated with the official goal of the German government. And of course, even in Germany, not everything is going perfect, so we are far away from being perfect. So you will see some success stories, but you will see also that there's many room for improvement when looking at the current situation in the German energy policy or climate policy field.
It is a losses. Decrease the system losses. Mitigate the voltage deviation from the rated value, as well as to enhance the voltage stability and the load of the system. To enhance a distribution system by adding a clean, renewable energy from wind, to enhance the performance of a distribution system by adding clean wind turbine generators. The problem with integrating wind turbines that it is interruptible source, why you have to support the system with energy storage devices. In our discussion here, 2 wind turbines are added to the distribution system to improve its performance, along with the use of 2 superconducting magnetic energy stores. So that in the absence of wind, you have energy stored to keep the supply continuous. The outline of my talk will talk briefly about the energy sources in general in Egypt, and then after that, I will distribution system is located. In some locations, there is no wind, so I cannot rely on wind turbines for this case, and I look for another source. So why you have to have at first the profile of the wind where your system is installed. The wind turbine should be high, above the cut-in speed. High dam, hydroelectric power plant. At the beginning, it was about 20 meters. And now with aging, with all time, 100 minus 400, 1200 megawatts. Then ban from sun rays from free charge of energy, which is the sun, to 1.5. More than what the high dam is supplying in the grid.
They had a totally different, let's say, scientific subject, but it showed that a country like Egypt and a country like Germany, one from the global north, the other one from the global south, are both working in the same direction. I was much impressed by the Egyptian goals, and I think Egypt has a good opportunity, maybe even much better prepared to use renewable energies than Germany, because you have sun and wind and
sun hours a day, at night, 10 hours, 11 hours per day.
It's too hot in summer, maybe.
But there is still a problem. I mean, it has been mentioned, there is this social component, and you called it, it's not costs, it's investment. But at the moment, it's a cost. I mean, people have to pay for what we have to do, and then you have to have a return on investment. While maybe big companies can wait 30 years, I think individuals are not willing to do this. To say, I have now to invest, and who has the money to do it? If we speak about renovation, energetic renovation in Germany, I mean, either it's done by the companies and they increase the rent of the flats, which will be a problem, or it's done by the owners of the houses who have. There is a lot of challenges, but I'm really happy to see that there are that scholars and companies are working to find solutions and adopted solutions. It's not just taking an idea from abroad. In Egypt, there is a way, as you said, with these vertical turbines, also to let's say, do it according to the situation. And that's the only way, otherwise it will be a failure. So let me thank again both our speakers tonight for their presentations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Let me thank Miram and her team for having arranged the event that properly tonight. Now I wish you a good continuation discussions in the garden about these issues. Both our speakers will be here for not a couple of hours, but for still a while.